Welcome to the podcast. I'm Rolle. I'm one of the co-hosts and also one of the co-founders of Black Belt Consulting. And we're naturally having it together with Sameli, our CEO, and the main founder of the entire company. And together we have the honor of having Lukas Lundin as a guest from Microsoft. Thanks first of all for coming. We have a bit of background with Lukas from the actually student times. We used to work in the famous Gecko, which is the student organization for the freshmen. So we were the ones organizing all the parties and naturally drinking some good wine, speaking out of which we are coming into one really exceptional one in a moment. I'll let somebody pour it in a few moments. But today we are going to speak a bit about Microsoft, naturally, because you are wearing the beautiful hoodie. We're also speaking about AI, the disruption of AI, what does it mean, and maybe touching a bit of the partnerships which Microsoft are having. The format is meant to be really free-flowing, so if we stumble on any words, if we bring you any bloopers during the show, just laugh with us. We are trying to do it as well. But please, Lukas, no one knows you outside of this room, or maybe some of it does, but please explain who you are, what have brought you here, and what's been the path for you in the position you are in Microsoft at the moment.
Absolutely. How much time do I have? But
yeah,
really,
just shoot.
I think I've been at Microsoft now for about 6 years or so. I started in technical sales, then I ventured into go-to-market, basically handled the Azure all-up go-to-market for Finland and then for Sweden. And then lately, or last year, I covered the go-to-market for AI applications on Azure for our Western Europe organization. Then I decided to flip things around a bit. Now this fall, I returned to Finland and in actually an engineering role or a solution engineering role that focuses on kind of AI-enabled software development or AI DevOps. So that's kind of a journey. So kind of semi-technical go-to-market, and now in the really deep end with the product teams and everything.
So someone with that track record of taking first the Finland AI, Azure, then part of the Nordic, Western Europe, and then you ruined your career at Microsoft and not taking the global responsibility to AI and flip to Finland's DevOps. What's the story behind that? Because that's interesting.
Yeah, no, I mean, many factors are contributing. I think one large is that I now have a 9-month-old daughter at home.
Congrats.
Also. So staying kind of local in Finland is, of course, one thing that's weighing in a lot. But then I also, I live in Finland and I've seen what's happening in kind of Europe and also kind of more globally. And I feel that we need to do something in Finland, kind of because back when I had Sweden and looking back at what's happening now in the Swedish AI scene, there are a lot of startups now that are starting to grow really, really big there. But I'm kind of not seeing kind of the same spark happening in Finland at the moment. And I kind of want to, I'm not sure if I can, but do anything I can to kind of spark that at Finnish companies. So.
And an inspiring one. How would you you have the insights now from Microsoft being one of the largest companies in the world, one of the most valuable, if not most valuable, depending on the day. How do you see the insights you have from the AI within Microsoft changing the entire industry, but also how does Finland at the moment play against other countries?
Yeah, I think it's an interesting question because I think I was in charge of landing Azure OpenAI service back when it came, which was super cool. It was kind of a service that existed before ChatGPT, so I was playing around with it before that happened. I don't think anyone realized how huge this thing is going to be, generative AI. But I think many Finnish companies were super early in doing pilots, trying out this technology. Back when it was just back when language models were just predicting the following word. There were companies out there who were building internal chatbots, AI assistants, all of this. And I actually think that Finland had the highest, what we call Azure OpenAI service penetrations in Western Europe back then. So, which meaning that the largest percentage of companies were actually using the service.
What was the time frame of this? I was speaking about 23, 24, which month? Because things are rapidly evolving in the scene of AI.
Our fiscal years were a bit offset, but this was, I would say, back in 23, I would say. But anyhow, so that was we had a good start, but then what I think was not done as well as in other parts of Europe were these big bets. So we had many Southern European companies who they saw the benefits of the technology. They might not necessarily have built a proof of concept yet, but they went in big and basically put a lot of resources on the table and went for it. And we are now seeing what that means when some, I'm not sure which industry I should take, like banking, for instance. Southern European banks are super advanced on using AI currently. And I think Finland is getting there, but there are dynamics like this that play.
So we kind of took the technology, adapted to some extent to proof of concept, the technology, but we didn't take it further. We didn't really make it enterprise solution out of it. And is that, I mean, why do you think it is? Is it? I try to answer myself. So is it because we are just not investing right now in Finland in IT the same way as many other countries are, how our peer countries are investing? So is that the reason, or is it just something else?
I think I'm seeing the light currently. It's at the start of this year when people stopped talking about AI and started talking about agents more. And then that I don't know, something happened in the minds of Finnish business decision makers. And they were like, we need to do this agent stuff. And I was I had a short period of parental leave back when the baby was born. So I was gone for a month. And when I came back, I was like, why everyone's talking about agents? And then looking into what an agent is I was like, but this was already possible a year or more ago. But
it's all about the commercialization.
Yeah, we found the word for it. So,
yeah, exactly.
So I'm now seeing Finnish companies that are investing more or doing the same thing that those Southern European companies did maybe a year before. But so I'm not sure. I mean, if we take banks again, I don't think Southern European banks are not competing with Finnish banks in the same sense, so I don't think that's an industry where that's a concern. But I'm more concerned in the startup scene or
in the technology field.
Where
it's more like a global market. I agree.
Yeah. So, but I'm not a pessimist, so I'm seeing the light now with.
Yeah, and you're not here, so you're gonna save the Finland as country and in age of AI. So
But I think there are two I see AI in two aspects. I see that there's a great, there's a huge opportunity in embedding AI in the software, creating this traditional software that's really empowered by AI, speeding things up a lot. That's what a lot of people are doing. But then I see this other part, which is speeding up software development itself using AI. And I think here we have quite a lot of I'm seeing a lot more of it in Finland than in other places. So I think we're an engineering people.
The Nokia heritage is strong here.
Yeah.
I think that's one of the discussion. We have multiple discussions with our customers, and most of them touch at some point AI and proof of concepts and how to make those from this sandbox or development stage phases or projects into actual production stages. And the Finnish directors, leaders, C-level, C-1s, they lack maybe some of the industry touching use cases, which they could start thinking about how this could be maybe enabling our business to grow, or whether we should take it as this secretary role of just analyzing the numbers, or whether we should bring it as a board member to bring new business to us. So that's something really large. But I think we should maybe touch into the use cases soon. But before that, I let Sameli dig into the wine, because you've seen there's a wine on the table, and behind a wine there's a story.
Yeah, and in general, I mean, we both share the same passion for wines, and we just ruthlessly have to take all opportunities to combine two good passionates. Yeah, enjoy the life. So technology and wine. So Tignanello, I mean, this wine is actually very special. I mean, it's one of the super Tuscans, and it's actually one of those wines that changed and disrupted the field of wines. I mean, if you think about how this was created, I mean, Italy is a very traditional wine-making country, And when they make wine, it's Sangiovese basically in Tuscany that they use. What they
Sangiovese is a grape.
it's a grape, yes. So basically in Antinori, they took some French grapes, which is like Cabernet Sauvignon and Cabernet Franc, and they added that to Sangiovese, which is like that's like absolutely forbidden, and they were like almost outcasts for a while, until they tasted the wine, until the critics tasted the wine, until it disrupted the winemaking, basically in Tuscany and in a sense in Italy. And that's what I think. I mean, why this wine? I mean, Microsoft has done that several times within the corporate life cycle. I mean, first MS-DOS, Windows, I mean, Office, and obviously as a latest thing, then AI tools. And I think that it doesn't matter if it's technology, if it's wine. Disruption is disruption. But what really makes the difference is to take it enterprise level, to play it worldwide, to actually commercialize it. And I think they have done it in Antinori. They even invented the concept, or James Suckling invented the concept of a super Tuscan. And I think that boils down to the fact that you are actually doing disruption, and not only doing the disruption through technology, but actually commercializing that throughout Europe and you personally in the Nordic countries. And I think that's basically the bridge here. Whether the bricks can hold, I don't know. But that was the idea, and I obviously would like to taste the wine now. So
yes, indeed, looking forward to it. Like high hopes, especially with this kind of introductions. Cheers, yes. and welcome to the pod. At least the smell is quite nice.
Really interesting. I don't think I mean, I enjoy good wine, but I'm not anywhere on your level of like wine expertise, but really interesting.
It's kind of luscious, jammy. It has blueberry, a lot of berries actually, strong blueberries, so blackberries as well.
Yeah,
so
true.
But I like your analogy with all of like mixing the grapes from like combining something into like an unholy combination of something, because sometimes when the pace of AI is so rapid, even like at Microsoft, we have so many product teams all developing kind of AI. So combining all of those into kind of like, it looks like an unholy combination, but then when you bring all of that together in like that enterprise platform, then I think that kind of goes
and I really think that's what's happening right now, that maybe we in Finland, we adopted the Gen AI, for example, so early that we didn't realize all the potential. We didn't realize all the possibilities in market. And when we now look at it, I mean, I'm really hyped about the multimodal AI, where we combine not only the text, but with the image, with the back-end functionalities, the agents you mentioned. And I even sort of take it further many times when I talk about it, that I talk about Iron Man, Tony Stark, and Jarvis. I mean, if you really think that, if you really think about how Tony Stark uses AI, I mean, Jarvis is the AI there. I mean, that AI is not just a talking head. It can do everything that the Stark Industries can do. And that's cool. Yeah. And that's what I really think that is kind of happening, that you can create an AI that is helping you to do what you need to do, but basically it's not only talking to you, it can actually do stuff, the agent that you talk about. And then when you add that there is picture, I mean, there are like machine eyes, there are machine ears, there are machine everything, I mean, text to speech and so on. So how do you see the multimodal AI, and kind of, are we close to getting a Jarvis on our...
Finally.
Finally on our desks?
If we take like multimodality, I see there are like two important things in AI development at the moment. Multimodality, like AI being able to ingest basically any format. It can see, it can hear, all of that. I think that's going to play a big role in the sense that a lot of the information in the world is not text. Like the majority of information is actually, it can be visual, or I would say like mostly visual and all of that. And I think we're seeing interesting developments in what they call kind of like world models, where we can teach AI how the world works by making it watch how the world works. But anyhow, that's kind of like maybe a bit in the future. But currently these speech models are quite interesting because I'm at least driving around a lot at the moment and not always having the capability to kind of use a keyboard or anything. So for that, in an accessibility sense, it's of course great to be able to discuss with AI. And I've actually found that when I'm going on like walks or something, then it's pretty interesting to just engage in conversation with AI. It's getting better and better because in the start you needed to be like quite careful with or like slow and wait for answers. But now you can really argue, you can like interrupt all of that. And of course, vision is playing a huge role in documentation, I would say, right now. So there's a lot of companies, let's say manufacturing as an example. They have a lot of existing documentation, a lot of like content there is not in text form. It's like in different graphs, schematics, all of that. So making that accessible to AI so that it can understand how a schematic works to then be able to assist some like field service worker. That's already huge. Okay, so multimodality was one thing, but I think what I'm most excited about is kind of agents. And I was in the start when I wondered that why is everyone excited about agents? I think it's that if you think about AI as an assistant, you can only improve like your own productivity by X amount. Like by using AI as an assistant, I can go through my emails 40% faster or something. That I'm the limiting factor in all of that. But then when you start to think about agents, you remove yourself as the limiting factor. You get what's called like parallelism. So you can like add as many instances of yourself or something that you want.
So we're basically like multiplying the best people, so basically yourself, in the army of agents with a specific function for each of those.
Yeah, or in like a good example is software development, because I think the field that first started to use generative AI was developers. We have GitHub Copilot, which is a product which was kind of like, it preceded ChatGPT and everything in being useful for developers. It was kind of like in the start assisting developers with like autocomplete, so that you were writing something and then it suggested. Then it got chat. Then it got agent features in kind of the IDE, so that it can like create code. But now I think what's happening in software development is that we're stepping outside the IDE. Like we are not tied to one developer sitting with the like IDE environment talking to an agent, but instead, if we take like GitHub, you can create multiple issues. So you can have like feature requests. You add 10 feature requests, then you kick off 10 agents. Those spawn 10 more agents doing something. And then suddenly you as a single like developer, you have a team of how many agents you want. And then it's your job to see that what they are doing is like good. So you can actually, you're not the developer that's 20% more efficient. You're like 100 times more efficient by just, yeah.
And many times it's not about sort of multiplying yourself. It's I had an interesting conversation with Risto Siilasmaa some time back, and I think there was a good point from him that the machine doesn't think the same way and doesn't have to think the same way. Many times when we do kind of software in the traditional way, we try to make the machine multiply something that we do as humans. But many times that's not the most efficient way of doing things. And I think that's also something interesting, that when you make things more efficient, you don't always sort of multiply yourself. You are basically creating something that is thinking differently. And as we know, I mean, even with human beings, it creates value when you think differently. So machine plus a human being, they're both thinking differently. That might create something new and different.
Yeah. And what's also interesting is that you can actually, you're not limited to giving one problem to one agent. You can give the same problem to 100 different instances of an agent, and then you get 100 different results. And then you can have like another army of agents that go through the results of those and then try to like argue which one is the best. So you get like, when intelligence is always free, there are some crazy things that can happen. But I think here is exactly where kind of like some business decision makers maybe haven't seen or like thought that through yet. It's a lot about when I talk with some like more business-oriented people, or the topic of return on investment is always coming up. Exactly. And then the measure you usually use is that you take an existing measure and then you apply some like coefficient to it. And like with AI, we can make our workforce this and that much better. Yeah. But I'm not sure if that's the right question. It should be like, what processes can we completely change or completely remove?
Yeah.
Or
so it's basically like the same when internet came up. Like there was no such thing as internet. Like virtual things started to happen. Like there's no postcard anymore. It's an email.
And it's like we're talking about digitalization. I mean, digitalization, like everyone knows, it's not about just putting something that's manual or sort of physical into digital form. I mean, you need to rethink the processes. Exactly. And I think this is exactly the same. So digitalization was a revolution in that sense, that you had to rethink the process if you really want to digitalize. And now you are sort of looking at the next revolution, next paradigm or next shift, where you need to rethink the process again with different kind of tools to help you.
And I think there are like some themes that are very important, or some like topics relating to agents that are super important. And I think that one is like instructions or documentation. Exactly. Do you have your goals, or depending on, of course, what kind of like an agent you create or you want to do. But let's say in software development, when you create an app or you have some software, the documentation is incredibly important right now. I would say it's more important than your code itself, because you need to be able to describe to these agents what this software is, what the goal is, what's the roadmap, where are we going. There needs to be a kind of this source of truth somewhere. And then the second part is kind of like integrations. How can you ensure that your agent has access to everything that it needs also? And then I think there's a lot of hype about like MCP servers and all of that, but that's where that kind of comes in. So
that's interesting. Like trying to combine a bit what all we've been discussing about how companies are doing POCs or proof of concepts of trying AI, at least in Finland, they're still doing it quite a lot. The enterprise level approach is still missing. Then you're speaking basically that the most important roles in the future, if we assume that AI will take over as part of everything, not like taking over everything, but being part of everything in the future, is basically a prompting engineer. That we need someone who can actually word or dictate the things that we want to achieve without the background information.
Yeah, I think prompt engineering was something that was born super early, or like the concept. And then I think many are still tying it to like, how do I, in my chatbot, paste the right prompt in? I think that's kind of, again, the wrong... I mean, of course, it was prompt engineering back then. But then if you think about it, then when you hand a task to an agent, you're not going to be there in the chat, like discussing and correcting and all of that. But you need to, in kind of like one prompt or one set of instructions, one set of plugins, you need to provide all the context to the agent that it needs to succeed. So I think prompt engineering is back on the table in that kind of like headless sense. Yeah. So I think we're back where that's important. And then can talk about prompt engineering for a very long time, but I think what's changed, or what's important with kind of this new form of prompt engineering for agents, is that you need to give it an end goal. And the simplest way is to give it just a checklist that you are done when A, B, C, D, E, F is completed. Then you are done.
So we basically need the business futurists to tell the C-level that what do they want to achieve? What are the bold visions?
I mean, that's an interesting point, because I mean, the executives, I kind of relate to that. I've been there. So how is it? I mean, they really think like ChatGPT, for example, that they can get so easily answers to difficult questions. And then they hear people talk about that the productivity increases when you use like GitHub Copilot and so on. But when it comes to agents that we now talk about, I mean, I think there are also kind of false expectations that you get kind of everything for free, because when you start to talk and you do the agents, you meddle with the core processes if you want them to have an impact. I mean, the more impact, the more you are in the core processes. And that basically requires rethinking the processes. So do you see that happening, that there are companies that are so much ahead and pioneering that they are actually changing their core processes with the agents. Because I see a lot of companies doing something, I mean, cutting and pasting something on top of the core processes, but are there any companies that you know of that are doing this with the core processes?
I think if we have to go back to software development again, I can then take another example again, but I think that's, well, I mean, if you're a software development company, then your core process is software development.
Yeah, in that sense.
And that's very clear that there are major changes happening to that one.
Yeah,
so
I was thinking about products.
yeah. So I need to think about one more concrete example, but I can think while I talk. So, but in software development, so in that sense, the core process of how do you develop software, the entire DevOps process is changing a lot. So instead of you having individual developers on individual features, a lot of those individual developers are becoming engineering managers that then oversee of course, they have a task to oversee that certain features are being implemented or not. So I can see that the product manager and developer roles might be even merging a bit in the future, because you as a developer need to be the one that understands requirements and guides software development. You might not necessarily be the one that writes the code. But then again, when we think about core processes in let's take a manufacturing company, if you have an ERP system or something like that, there are so many different points in your processes which probably involve humans at some point, a lot of course, data entry and all of these standard things. We have been automating them for a long time already. But I think we are at the space where we already now can give some autonomy to agents. Of course, you need to have humans that check things and oversee things at certain points, but you could go through your core processes and see that are there any intersections in that process where you could be using agents to make things faster, or maybe completely remove steps from it. So.
That's a good point. One of the key concerns that we get from the discussions when it comes to this kind of AI deliveries or proof of concepts is regarding security, and that's a hot topic. There's a lot of data, a lot of involvement, a lot of uncontrolledness, basically, if you don't know what you're doing when bringing in AI to the large databases of your company. So how do you say, this is now your sales pitch towards Microsoft, it's not non-scripted, but how do you think of when you see how it's all thought behind, so what's the role of security? Where does it come in? Where does it end, or does it end?
I think AI is changing security in a lot of sense. If we take in an enterprise sense, when you have a lot of teams working with AI out there, how can you be sure that all of those teams are following your guidelines and aren't breaking? I think, okay, let's step one step. We have security, and then we have responsible AI and all of this. So the security part, I don't think the fundamentals there have changed. You don't want your data to leak. You don't want to implement any vulnerabilities in your platform and all of that. So the fundamentals haven't changed, but the volume has changed a lot there, because you have external attack, you can have external vectors that are using AI to maybe try to break into different systems. If they're using AI, they have basically that unlimited capacity to just try things out. Then on the other end, you need to have AI to go through all of the signals you're seeing in your system to realize that what's going on. Because when you have an external vector generating so many different signals, you can't have just humans trying to figure out what's happening. So you need to have AI to assist you there. But then again, I see if you think enterprise platform, so a lot of companies are now building these enterprise AI platforms, basically to streamline a way through which every different part of an organization can deploy agents or do some things. So at Microsoft, of course, we have on Azure, we have a lot of products that basically cover all of that. So Azure AI Foundry for developers, that has a lot of built-in security. And I think all this AI needs to run on something. usually requires capacity. And in an AI application, I would even go so far to say that the AI component is not the most important one. You have all the like surrounding services. You have your databases, you have your app, you have all of that. So AI is kind of one component on Azure. And I think the benefit of that is that then you get all the enterprise features of Azure. You have like networking, you have monitoring, you have security features, Defender. That's all like taken care of when you have it.
So would you go so far that you would say that using the new AI tools and the Microsoft platform, it's as safe as you would do sort of traditional software development on Azure?
Yeah. So
if you have the foundation in
If
place.
you have the foundation in place.
yeah, if you configure it correctly and use the services there, it's an Azure service. So basically, I mean, if you think not only security but data governance, then the data stays wherever
That's a
you
good
want.
point.
And
It is, because I think when I hear customers talk about this, I mean, one of their fears is that there is sort of lack of security, and they are afraid that there is a new thing that whether like you said, whether data will leak or not, and will it and there are different type of leaks. I mean, one to internet and one to, let's say, OpenAI, and how are they using the data and so on. So how do you see that
I
part
think
of security?
one new aspect of security is, let's say, you have people that are afraid that data will be leaked through, let's say, a chatbot or other AI process, through, like, let's say, jailbreaking or something like that, so that people or someone tries to use a prompt to make your AI agent leak data that it should not. So at least in Azure AI Foundry, we have built-in protection against that. So it kind of notices jailbreaks. And yeah, so there's basically a bunch of different features that you can enable. You can disable, if not even security, but also responsible AI things that you don't want your AI agent to be receiving or engaging in hate speech or something like that. So of course that's enabled by default, but then there's sliders and controls for that. So let's say you're building a bot that's supposed to help with domestic violence victims, then you might want to take that slider down again, because if you aren't allowing that bot to discuss those topics, then it could be tricky. So it's configurable.
So it could be I mean, AI is offering enhanced development, so it could also offer enhanced security in that sense.
Yeah, I mean, I would go so far to say that we have AI in basically all of our security components also in Azure. So it's not like you have the aspect where you need your AI app to be secure, but then you have all of your normal apps that have been running since forever. Then all of the developments in AI are actually contributing to the security of those. So, and what I think what's extra cool with Microsoft security features is that since we have a worldwide network of I don't know how many customers we have, but a lot. So when someone somewhere in the world suffers an attack, or someone is attacking and we notice it, we can deploy a fix, or we can sense when that same attack happens anywhere else in that network, which is kind of a large benefit to
Fix
have.
and learn.
So yeah.
Yeah, they touched quite many interesting topics, and I think we're at some point running out of time because this could continue for ages. But you said something about data governance, and that's also one core discussions we're having in the customer discussions. Like when they say that, let's say there's a stereotypical example that the CIO says to the IT league of experts that we need one AI, please, and they don't know anything where their data is, who owns the data, how to build AI, what's the foundations behind everything. So normally the discussions we're having actually ends in some kind of data architectural foundation assessment / data governance foundation, and then first we can go into the AI vision and workshops about that.
Yeah, I think that's exactly where great partners like you come in, because we have, I mean, Azure and our platform it's a platform. So there are a lot of ways that you can handle data governance on it. And while we have some guidance, I think it's really it really depends on the customer. And I think that's where it's incredibly valuable to have competent partners that can have these conversations. with customers and really understand their demands for, if we take like data governance is one of those topics. So I don't think that you can have like one data governance and one AI platform, but there are like so many different ways to do it. So, and I think you're a certified Microsoft Azure like partner, so you have seen a lot of those different ways to do that. So that's, I think, incredibly valuable. So
exactly. How do you, by the way, please open up a bit about Microsoft partnerships. So who's actually doing the deliveries? So everyone's speaking about AI. It would be nice to have one, but are you doing the AI?
Yeah, I mean, how it works at Microsoft, we usually, I mean, it depends, of course, on like what kind of agreements you have with Microsoft. For some can like buy services straight from Microsoft, but I would say the vast majority are enabled by partners. So in my current role as a solution engineer, I'm basically the one that goes to customers and show them that these are all the cool things that you can do, what's possible, and then I'm like, see you, and then
here's the list of partners you can do.
That's where we come in. Exactly. We can continue from there.
So, but in an essence, that's kind of how it works in many cases. So, and that's where it's good to have like partners that we really can trust in, because I think how we differ from other cloud platforms is that we are quite present, at least in Finland, and we have a extensive like partner network here that we try to be part of as much as we can. So
yeah, and it's like we feel it, like we have strong connections with you guys, and it's been like a well-oiled engine basically behind all of this. I think like also the partnership levels that you are having, looking from our side as a partner, focusing on different areas, is supporting also the customer to know which ones to trust in which topics.
Since you are like a advanced specialized partner, also it's like no easy feature to get that. It's really kind of the bar is set quite high for those, which basically also means that if a customer engages with you, they know what they get in that sense. And I think we have, at least this last year or so, been going more in a direction where a lot of our like support and offering and programs, and that is kind of channeled to advanced partners like you.
Yeah, and I think we as Black Belt see the partnerships as one of the foundational like strategical growth aspects for us, because naturally you have the technology, but you have also discussions. We have the capability of delivering what's been discussed. So when you say like, sort of, no, I'm out of here, and this is what you want to do, we step in, and it's a delivery problem, as they say in sales. But jokes aside,
I don't know. Of course, I don't step up before I've secured you. So just in case my manager is watching.
Yeah, exactly. No, good addition. but also like thinking of like from Microsoft is a large technology company. You have a lot of like partner focus areas, and naturally we need to choose the ones where we want to certify in. And when speaking about the foundations, I think like cloud, data, AI, those are the three things we really highly like value in Black Belts, because those are the three things that come in. Then we can add in security, governance, this kind of like foundational, even like C-level sparring discussions through Sameli or Stefano or others in our company, but the main delivery capabilities come out of this certified knowledge about data, cloud, and AI. Cool. Now when we've been speaking soon, like let's say 40 minutes out of AI and all of around it, I think we should close it by you defining what is AI. What have we been actually speaking about?
Which definition should we have?
Shoot, because it's been a ramp up of evolution in the last.
I think the history of AI, like if you put it in concept, is quite interesting, because we have to go back to ancient Greece, and because I think in Greece mythology we had like these automatons, robots. I think the first like example of AI was a robot that was guarding the. Now I'm probably going to say the wrong island, but I'm not going to say an island. I'm going to say one. I can't
Greek
remember.
island.
I can't remember which one it was in the methodology. So there was like an automaton robot that was guarding a Greece island, and I think that was the first example of it. But then if we go like later, I don't think that kind of like concept of AI has not changed since then. in a sense that AI is something that's not human, but it's like created by humans and intelligent, of course. But the question was, I should define what AI is.
What does AI mean for you? Like, what? If you're known in, at least in my head, and that's basically the entire country. So
not the book definition then. Okay, you got the history, but
exactly. The easiest. If you would explain to your 9-month-old what's AI, how would you say it?
I would say it's an infinite resource of intelligence that you can tap into at any point in time when you don't feel like using your own intelligence. And I use AI in my like everyday life a lot. Like basically, well, last evening when I went to the store, I didn't feel like planning out like the weekly menu, whatever we're gonna eat. So I have this ongoing prompt where I'm just like telling it to suggest me like meals for the entire week, and then it remembers all of that. So it's kind of like, I don't think we have ever had a way to outsource intelligence before. We have a lot of ways where you can like outsource some particular well-specified tasks, but I don't think we have ever had a point in time where we have been able to outsource deeper thinking in a sense. So I see AI as a way to outsource intelligence, if we say it that way. So.
That's cool. I think we are starting to run out of wine with Sameli, which means that the time's coming up. Now, regarding your current role in Microsoft, the new role in the developer side, and also with the insights you have from the Western Europe companies and pitches you have had there, and this kind of conversations, what would be your encouraging final words now to the people in Finland doing decisions regarding AI?
Try things out. And this goes no matter if you're like, I don't know, an elementary school student or the CEO of a company. Like, I don't think AI has ever been this easy to try out. And this goes both for like in personal life. So if you're not using AI in your everyday life, you might miss out on opportunities that could be available in companies. And this goes also for like software developers. There's I think every single day there are updates to these AI tools. So if you're not trying out things, there's not going to be a single certification or course or like this that can make you understand what happens. But trying things out is of course only one step. In like an enterprise sense, of course you can be trying things out, but I think you need to be also more
brave in doing decisions.
Yeah, you need to be structural in a way. And then like setting example, trying things out, establishing some kind of core AI team, platform team, something that can like handle all of the ideas that are being probably born somewhere.
So basic curiosity is the seed, but you still need to be brave to actually commercialize, to make it enterprise level, like we basically started the conversation from.
So and don't kill like the spark that because people, it's not going to be, if you're like a CEO at some company, then it's cool if you try out things, but you probably have an entire company of people that also have ideas and trying that. And you need, as a leader, to be able to build and support some kind of a platform that supports like those ideas that can make them real and all of that.
So the CIOs come now, the dream makers, enablers of AI for the companies.
Yeah, it depends. I think in most companies, it's kind of in some places, traditional IT has evolved to kind of like also supporting an AI platform. In other places, we have like the analytics or data people that have been starting doing that. In other companies, they have a like brand new way of doing it. So I don't think there's one right way to do it, but someone needs to do it. So
I really think so as well. And I mean, the only thing that I think is kind of wrong is the kind of order of one AI, please. I mean, that's the only thing that I think is not the right way to do it, because that leads most of the time to one POC and then you are done.
Yeah, no, I think it should be one AI platform, please. One well-managed AI platform, please.
Because on platform you can build upon, but if you do just something and then you are happy with it, then it probably
Yeah,
It's
I mean,
not
and
gonna
no
lead
one is
something
gonna
good.
fly in and fix your core business. That's kind
Exactly.
of up to you. But someone can fly in and help you with the AI platform. That can be done. So.
Not even the AI can help you fix your core business.
Definitely. And I mean, that's also the thing that when there are orders like one AI please, I mean, what is kind of forgotten is that maybe your data is not supporting utilizing AI, and many times that's when you kind of have to go back and think about sort of the data governance, and think about the data platform first, and then you can have the advanced analytics capabilities that everyone wants, and that's the order. I mean, you cannot go in sort of the wrong order. You cannot start from advanced analytics and not think about the data that it has been
And I mean,
utilized.
you don't have to fix your entire like company data platform. All of that.
That's
you can
true as well.
start somewhere and then
exactly.
build on that. So.
That's also true. I mean, if you start with a data journey where you try to fix everything, I mean, then you are never in the advanced analytics mode. So it's kind of the balance and the iterations as well.
And the risks.
And the risks, yeah.
Hey, time's up. Thanks for coming. Cheers for the wine toaster.
Thank you.
Cheers.
I haven't done a wine podcast or interview earlier. So
Yeah, indeed.
That's the first.
I think it came out quite nicely. As the wine, it's been getting some air, so it's even better than in the beginning.
Amazing. It's one of my favorite wines, actually. Also.
Yeah,
So it's
really good.
So thanks for coming. Thanks for Microsoft for enabling and scaling the AI, and more than happy to continue the journey. And we are naturally happy to deliver those bold visions of AI.
Yes. Thanks
Cheers,
for
mate.
inviting me.
Lukas.
Thanks.
Thank you, Rolle.
Thank you.
Thank you.